Hello, people. What is up? N.J.H plays here, and today we have the start of a new series, which I am very excited for and have planned a lot for. So we're going to be using this beautiful map, which is called Fargo, and you can find that on the workshop. I will link it in the description below, so you can get that and check it out if you want. As you can see in the title, if you look down in the bottom of the screen, you can see that the city that I'm going to be doing is called New Dallas, and that's because I am taking a lot of inspiration from areas in Texas, mainly Dallas and Houston. But I also took a little bit of inspiration from San Antonio and Austin as well. I have also taken a little bit of inspiration from Chicago and St. Louis. So as far as where the city is based off of, it's kind of all over the place. But the main sections are primarily located off of Dallas and Houston, and I will show you guys some maps comparing these two cities in a little bit whenever I get more of the road layout done. So I will be doing the city or the series more of a commentary while while you guys watch a time lapse of the video. That's just because this gameplay that I have is going to be way too long because there's going to be a lot I'm going to be doing. So I figured that it would be a lot longer if I was going to record live and just put my commentary while I was playing live. It would just be very long and it wouldn't be very interesting. So I just decided that I would make a commentary over time lapse. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I also, as you guys can see, I'm using quite a few mods and just different assets in this build. A lot of these, actually, all of these can be found on the workshop. So yeah, I'm using mods like Unified UI, Move It, Traffic Manager President Edition, Ploppable Rico, extra, landscaping tools. There's just a lot of really great mods that can be used to make an excellent city, and a lot of them I would say you should use even if you are going to do a modded build. A lot of them, such as like 81 tiles, I would highly recommend. Even if you're not doing a modded build, you can still have more area to build a city using mods. And you can also, as you can see here, I also have quite a few assets from the workshop too. Quite a few new road assets, which are very good. I'm very grateful for the Steam community, the City Skylines Steam community, for all these amazing assets that we have to work with. And I'm looking forward to see what they will do in the future and what else will come about. So yeah, this series is only made possible by creators from the workshop, such as King Leno and Bloody Penguin. So big shout out to them. Go subscribe to some of their assets and mods if you haven't already and you play this game. I would highly recommend their content. So as you can see here, we are building a sort of collector couplet. And this is based off of sort of the Main Street district in Dallas. You can go. I will maybe put that on camera so you guys can see, or sorry, not on camera, on screen. So yeah, so this is based off of the Main Street district, and you can see we're doing a collector couplet. And these collector couplets are very common when you look at a lot of old cities, a lot of American downtowns especially. They are very dominated by these sort of collector couplets and also a grid. And I will be getting more into that later about the grid. So as I said earlier, we are doing a collector couplet right here. Sort of. It's I guess less of a collector couplet right here. I'm trying to just build more of, I guess, a collector that's just, I guess, a little bit wider. I was going to put some trees in the middle, but for now it's just kind of this sort of, it looks like a collector couplet. But generally these collector couplets, they come from the highways, and you have a one-way road. The highway exit turns into a one-way road that goes through the city, and then you also have an exit lane maybe that goes into the highway that's also a one-way road in the city. So the cities are dominated by those because, at least in America, the downtowns are very surrounded by highways. You look at any American downtown, and it's basically surrounded by spaghetti of highways. So they have a lot of entrances and exits into the downtown, which results in a lot of these sort of collector couplets, where you have a two-lane road, but it's a one-way road, and you have in the on the next block you have the same thing but in the opposite direction. So that forms a sort of collector couplet. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here, and I hope to include a lot more collector couplets in here, because if you look at basically any downtown in America, they have a lot of one-way roads. Even if it's not a collector couplet, they have a lot of one-way roads.
And in just a second, we are going to be working on the grid over in the northern section over here. or northern, whatever this would be. I'm not sure what direction this is, but up towards the the top part of what we are building today, I'm going to start this grid, and this grid is based off of Houston. At least what I had so far, what the idea I had was that this area would be based off of Houston. The grid that Houston has is very consistent compared to Dallas. Dallas doesn't really have a consistent grid at all in downtown, and Houston's grid is basically only consistent with very few exceptions. So this grid is loosely based off of Houston's. There's a little bit of inconsistency, and obviously it's not as big as Houston's grid, but nonetheless, it is still based off of Houston's grid. So yeah, we're going to be doing, I'm not sure what size this is. I think this is 10 by 10 maybe, size grid. So yeah. And working on this Main Street district a little more. It's getting the grid kind of in place, the less consistent grid. Fitting in some alleyways, because if you look at a map in downtown, there seems to be a lot of roads, and there is a lot of roads, but if you look closely, or if you look at like a street view, you notice that a lot of the roads are actually, a lot of them are end up just being alleyways, or just smaller roads. The Google Maps tends to show all the roads kind of the same size, depending on whether or not if it's a collector or a local road. They kind of show them all the same size. But if you look at Street View or any other of those things where you could kind of see the difference between the road sizes, and I guess from far away they would look kind of the same, but once you look closely, a lot of the roads are actually different sizes. And Street Maps, or sorry, Street View gives you like a new perspective on things. So if you look closely on Street View rather than using Google Maps, you can kind of see a lot more detail in the roads and stuff. And you can just kind of see, which ones are alleys and which ones are, collector couplets, which ones are, stuff of that nature. Where Google Maps doesn't necessarily let you see all that, so it can be a lot more tedious, having to look at Street View for everything. And I would admit that it is tedious and maybe sometimes even unnecessary. But if you're really trying to get that extra detail in there, trying to really understand the way a road network works, then I would say Street View can probably be essential, and possibly essential for doing a realistic city road layout. If you would like, if that's your goal, I would definitely recommend using Street View for that. Google Maps, is good, but it's not always 100% reliable if you're trying to get the details in there. And in this little portion over here, we are working on changing up the angle a little bit in the grid, because if you know anything, or if you've seen any American downtown, there tends to be some inconsistency in the angle, and I think that really adds a lot to the grid. It just makes it more, it makes it less regular, kind of more unique. It makes it less boring, I'd say, when you have changes in the grid and changes in the angle. So that's what we're doing here. This is loosely based off of the south side of Dallas, with the next to the interchange. There's a big highway that goes south on the south side of Dallas. So this is loosely based off of that road, that little neighborhood. So yeah, we're changing up the angle a little bit. I'd say it's kind of something that you need to master, because there's a sort of art to grasping the way that angles sort of merge into other roads in certain areas. Certain areas, they kind of merge, they just join the other road, and certain times the grid completely changes in order to conform to the angle. So it can be kind of a challenge to learn when the grid will kind of intersect with the other road, when it will kind of curve and stuff like that. So I was going to put a highway on this side, by this road, but I decided that I would hold off on that because I wanted to put it on the other side of the river, and hopefully in the next episode or so you will see that. So here I'm working on building a collector. Was kind of feeling unsure about this. I kind of liked how curvy it was, but at the same time I felt like it wasn't too realistic with how curvy I had it. So hopefully I will change that, or just make it better. So while I was doing this, I was really looking into Houston and Dallas, trying to understand the way that the road network works, with the grid and the straight roads, because a lot of times the roads that look straight from far away aren't always straight when you look up close, and a lot of times the roads, at least in downtown Dallas, are not very straight. They kind of they curve just a little bit. They kind of go at a weird angle sometimes. So that was something I was trying to capture here pretty good. It was very difficult. So you can kind of see the struggle here, and you can kind of see how I was trying to just kind of incorporate the way that Dallas and Houston work together. Even though they're two separate cities in real life, I was trying to see how I could make them conform together, because This city is based off of, as I said earlier, it's based off of Houston and Dallas. So just trying to figure out how to make these grids work together, considering they're two different cities. So yeah, we're making the grid bigger over here. Was trying to figure out how large I wanted to make it and what roads I wanted to use. Alright, so now I'm going to be quiet, and I guess you guys can just enjoy this time lapse of me building. I will tune in a second to give you guys some more information. So for now, I guess just enjoy. Alright, I am back now. So, this area that I'm working on right now, I am basing off of Uptown Dallas. So, Uptown Dallas, it has a grid. I think it's more consistent than most of the other parts of Dallas, but it still has its inconsistencies. So we're sort of going with that. We're still working on a pretty consistent grid. It's just going, or not consistent, but it's going to be more straight. It's going to be a straighter grid. It's not going to have all the different angles that the other parts have, but it's still not very consistent. It's not angled, but it's straight, but it's not consistent. So the grids are different sizes, but they are not angled by any means. So yeah, we're working on this area. We're also going to join these two collectors hopefully here soon. And I'm kind of at a loss of what I want to do with the collectors once I join them. I don't know if I want to merge them into like a highway, a freeway, or like what I want to do with them. I'm kind of lost with that. So yeah, I will be thinking about that as I keep working. So as you can see, the grid is kind of molded into a lot of different things at this point. It's very inconsistent once you get sort of, I guess, to the right side of the build right now. I don't know if that would be north, but sort of, I guess this would be uptown. So you kind of see this collector, or not collector, this one way that I had going through here. Starting off this sort of new angle for the grid. And obviously we have different angles with the collectors, and I sort of started branching off of those different angles that we have with the collectors, and I was starting a new grid based on the different angles that we have with the collectors. As you can kind of see, the angle of the grid really depends on the direction that the collector is going, so that's what I really merge in here, because I realized after looking around quite a bit, I kind of saw that's what how the grid is determined is really by the collectors, and obviously it's not all the time, because you sometimes have the collectors coming in at an awkward angle, but as far as where the main part of the grid is established, it's usually somewhere along the collector, so that's kind of what I was trying to go with here. And like I said, obviously there's always exceptions, but that's kind of a general rule of thumb I realized. And then the collectors will meet in some areas, and then the grid will kind of get all wonky, or just kind of merge in with the roads however they, with the weird shapes or whatever. Sometimes you get like a triangle, or just weird shaped neighborhoods or grids. So that's what I'm working with here. All right, now enjoy another brief time lapse. this time with no music, and we'll be back in a few minutes, and I'll talk to you guys in a second. All right, well, we are finishing up the episode here, and you can see we're just finishing off this grid here, trying to work in some of these sort of weird block shapes. And right now you can hear music by Scott Joplin, and I really like this music. I really feel like it fits with the kind of theme that we are doing here with this American city. So this ragtime, a lot of it was written in the very early 1900s or late 1800s. And this town that we are building, New Dallas, probably would have been would have been built and laid. The roads would have been laid around the same time, probably in the mid to late 1800s or early 1900s. So I really feel like this music kind of fits with the sort of location that we are doing here. So this general area with these old road layouts. I really feel like this kind of just matches the vibe with the music. So I really like this music by Scott Joplin. He was probably one of the greatest American music writers of all time. He's the king of ragtime, known as the father of ragtime. So, if you enjoy this music, obviously go listen to some of his pieces. You can find them pretty much all on YouTube. So, credit goes to Scott Joplin for the music in this video. And we're just going to finish up here pretty soon. I will release the next episode hopefully soon. I'm not sure when, though. I'm not really doing a schedule. But I will release it soon before you guys. And I'm gonna just finish this time lapse, and we're gonna call it an episode here. I'm just gonna finish this time lapse, and just enjoy the rest of this time lapse with some music. So I'll see you guys in the next one. right, well, that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure you guys tune in next time for the next episode of New Dallas. Make sure you guys also like, comment, subscribe, and check out my other videos on the channel. And for now, N.J.H is out.